It's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So, guys, I found another story that kind of feeds into the previous stories. Look, this is this has been pretty heavy on the DNC, but I find it to be important. Let me explain why. For the longest time, the point of the Democratic Party was to smooth the rough edges of capitalism, meaning you had one party that was, for the most part, for the wealthy, for the rich, for companies, corporations, etc., etc., etc. That party, for the most part, is unempathetic, and that party, for the most part, cares only about cash and individualism. The Democratic Party was not supposed to be that way. The Democratic Party was supposed to represent labor, workers, poor, middle class. At the point where Bill Clinton decided to take all that cash and move to the right to make his policies more appetizing for corporate interests and corporate donors. Because understand, they're not getting that money for their health. Nobody is giving Bill Clinton that money, or nobody gave Obama that money, or Hillary that money, just because they thought they were good people. It was a business interest. It was an investment. They expected to get something back in return, whether it was a tax cut, whether it was some kind of regulation being passed, whether it was weapons being sold to Saudi Arabia by Hillary Clinton and the State Department. It's not free. It's not free at all. But in doing that, you've got to understand why this is so important. The moment they did that, though, they completely decoupled this aspect of American society where the poor, the middle class, the workers would have a conduit or a voice, a legislative voice in Washington. The moment Bill Clinton took that money, the moment Bill Clinton turned around and said, what are you going to do? Who are you going to vote for? You're going to vote for that monster? The moment he did that, the ability for the poor, the middle class, and labor to articulate what they needed in their society, not just what they needed, also what they wanted, to articulate their hopes, to articulate the things that they believe their society should be, or at the very least, could become. That was gone. That was decoupled. And instead, you got neoliberalism 101, where a two-party duopoly, for the most part, agreed on military, Wall Street, corporations, police violence, deregulation, oil. I mean, you can run the gambit. There's a reason why many of these things end up in identity politics. The Democrat is not going to necessarily have a conversation about whether Wall Street is a good idea or whether those guys should go to prison. They're not going to have it. That's off the table of debate. Yes, Republicans are goblins. But the point I'm making is, because of what Democrats were supposed to be, because of their function, their role in our society, they are just worse. They're worse. They've essentially eviscerated the voice of a large majority of the population in favor of maybe the top 10%. That's why I focus on Democrats. And that's why I've been focusing so much on this race. Because I feel like we're at a special time. I can't prove it. I can't nail it down. This is just a feeling. That feeling could be completely wrong. But I feel like there's enough people who are thinking a lot alike. And not just thinking a lot alike, almost in tandem. And you have a situation where electronic media, social web, the internet, allows these people to link together in a way and to function almost as a single unit. That's powerful. You literally have a huge faction of people that were at one point part of the Democratic Party and en masse said, no, I'm done. That's powerful. So confronted with this reality, confronted with the non-transparency in choosing Perez, when confronted with just choosing Perez in general, knowing full well that Ellison was the person who may have saved your base, or at the very least saved them from leaving your party. So they have a new strategy. Again, I love this because it's absolutely backing up something I said earlier. So I made this point that Ellison, Bernie, these guys are for the most part, they're being used. That they're being sheep herders. That progressives are out there, they're singing and dancing, and they're tap dancing, doing a jig, all that good stuff. Great. The public likes the show. But because they like the show, the Democrats are hoping that they're going to drag those people back to that defunct party. Now, pursuant to this is their new strategy. This was out the hill. Democrats flip script to woo millennials and big donors. The Democratic National Committee plans to overhaul its fundraising operation as it looks to tap into grassroots energy on the left and fulfill campaign promises made by its new chairman, Tom Perez. In an interview with The Hill, DNC Finance Committee Chair Henry Muñoz III, the group's only elected official to carry over from the previous leadership, detailed the organization's plans to appeal to young voters who turned Senator Bernie Sanders into a small dollar fundraising juggernaut in the 2016 presidential campaign. Well, that's interesting. So are you saying that they're going to go after these young voters that just so happen supported Bernie Sanders to that degree? Is it a coincidence that Bernie Sanders is the face of the party and that their strategy is to actually scam those young voters into voting for a party that's not going to do anything for them? I don't think it's a coincidence. And look, the argument in my other video was it wasn't a coincidence that they were using Sanders in order to pull people onto their side and to drive those people back into the party. This is a little bit more gross because they're essentially trying to get money from those same people. Full well knowing that they're going to fuck those people over the moment they get in office. So this continues. Working closely with Deputy Chairman Keith Ellison, a progressive favorite who lost the chairmanship race to Perez last weekend, are telling party members they can expect changes on all fronts. The redesign of the financial organization will be a better reflection of the times, while also returning to more relationship-based philanthropic models we got away from, Muñoz said. There was a time when Obama was running for president for the first time, when we were innovative. Everyone is ready to get back to innovating. The new fundraising and spending strategies are an acknowledgement that the DNC was not ready to capitalize on the energy of young liberals who felt more tied to Sanders, who officially remains an independent, than to the Democratic Party as a whole. So understand what they're saying. Even though they want those young voters, even though they want those young voters' money, at the end of the day, they recognize that this wasn't something they could fully capitalize on right away. But at the same token, they are still trying to get those young voters, and they are trying to get those young voters to give them money. Again, younger voters, millennials, went overwhelmingly to Sanders. Ellison, Gabbard, Warren to some degree. All those people are absolutely popular to millennials. Just so happen those are the people out there in resistance. The Democratic Party simultaneously comes out and says, we're going to aim at young voters and we're going to try to get grassroots money, grassroots fundraising. That's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. The progressives in the party, like I said before, are being used as sheep herders. I stand by that case. And most of the stuff that I've been reading up to this point backs that up, at least from an evidence standpoint. So, Florida lawyer John Morgan, a top fundraiser for the party's 2016 presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, said he is encouraged by Perez's leadership and cheered by Ellison's magnanimity. But Morgan said he will not invest. But Morgan says he will invest in individual congressional races rather than send his money into the black hole of the DNC. If the DNC were a stock on the New York Stock Exchange, the question is whether I would invest in it, Morgan told The Hill. Today, the answer is hell no. The DNC is now working to earn the trust of the grassroots liberals who proudly circumvented the National Party to invest in Sanders, whose $27 average for individual donations became a rallying cry for his supporters. Sanders has so far declined to share his valuable fundraising email list with the DNC. Still, it took former President Obama some time to do the same after his 2008 win. Clinton is still in sole possession of her list. This is where Ellison, who leveraged Sanders' list to raise more than $1 million in small donations in his bid for DNC chair, could be an asset. You don't say. You don't say. I love this part where it says, they said Bernie hasn't given up his list, but Obama gave up his list a little bit later. Essentially saying, well, you still may give the list up. And then this last part is more comical than anything else. Clinton is still in sole possession of her list. So wait, the one that lost to a reality show host, she's still in possession of her list? Nobody wanted that list from Hillary Clinton. Why do you want that list? Why do you want that list? Why do you want the list of somebody who lost twice? All right, keep it moving. So, look, I made the case. I think they're sheep herding. And just in that case right there, Ellison used Sanders' list to raise $1 million in small donations. And they're now looking to leverage Ellison to get information for that list, if not the list itself. How is that not the definition of sheep herding in that sense? He's literally trying to get something that Sanders has refused to give. The party's trying to get their hands on it. They want those young voters, and they want to milk those guys for money. What am I missing? That does seem to be the situation. This is interesting, though. And this is kind of, again, while I make the point that regardless of all the unity stuff, all that stuff was ridiculous. It was bunk. What they tell you as an individual, or what they tell the public, is probably different than what they themselves are having a conversation about. Meaning, at 3 in the morning when they are by themselves, they know goddamn well that there is no unity. They know goddamn well that up to 15 million people left the party. They understand that. The reason why they put Ellison in that, there you go, gold star, buddy, gold star. You get a consolation prize of a position that doesn't mean anything. Good job. Then go out there and get us some voters. It's an acknowledgement that they had a problem. The Hill backs it up. There's plenty of research that shows millennials don't identify with the Democratic Party. They identify with the principles and personalities that we have, Mounier says. Bernie taught us a lot about how to create an online revolution and how to fund it with low-dollar ownership in something. Now we need to offer those people something to invest in. A, they understand that the young do not identify with the party. B, they know that they identify with Bernie Sanders. C, they want to start milking the grassroots for cash, meaning they want to start milking those kids for $5, $10 donations. D, how do you do that? I would imagine you have to use the person who's their in. Sanders, Warren, Gabbard, maybe Sherrod Brown, Ellison. Those are the people that you use, the leverage, getting those millennials into your party. Those are the people that you use, the people with a certain amount of credibility, the people who are saying things that these guys, the millennials, believe in and like to hear. You allow them to be the face of your party. You allow them to go out there and beat their chests and be the tip of the spear against Donald Trump. Because you full well understand that regardless of what they do, that's theater. The beating heart of the party. The thing that it hasn't changed. It's not going to change. It will be that way. And even when they defraud these people into giving them money, even when they get Sanders, or they leverage Sanders being affiliated with them, that party's still not going to change. Wake up, people. Leave. DEMEXIT. This is our cue to go. So, I'm going to leave it at that. If you guys like the video, please like, share, subscribe. Also, feel free to comment. I do want opinions on this. I'm fascinated by the dynamic that's taking place right now. For the first time in my lifetime, we're seeing a situation of a party that, for all intents and purposes, seemed permanent. And look, take permanent with a grain of salt. I know from a human standpoint, we get so accustomed to day by day by day that a structure that's been there for a year feels like that structure would be there forever. Whether that's an actual thing like a tree, whether that's a building, or whether that's a political organization. This party is falling apart. And if millions of people will leave it, you can absolutely undercut it. And I would make the case that starting your own thing will hasten the demise of that party. Or, at the very least, force a certain amount of integrity in them. Once they realize, oh my God, those people aren't going to vote for us. We can't keep acting like corporate tools that we are. That's your path of resistance. No. Repeat after me. No. Fuck no. And leave it at that. Thanks, guys.